Alright, so I'm kind of addicted to Nubby's Number Factory. If you don't know what this game is, you're probably wondering why it looks like something that would appear on the TV in Smiling Friends.
Can we watch something else?
It's about to get really good. It's about to get really good. Trust me.
It's this new roguelike that kind of just came out, and it is actually so fun, but it looks like Baldi's Basics. Nubby's Number Factory is a Plinko-inspired roguelike by Mog Dog Blog Productions. The gameplay is really simple, because it's just Plinko. It is literally just, you shoot a ball, it hits pegs, except it's got a bit more of a numbers and multiplication thing to it, kinda like it's trying to emulate early edutainment games. The game's rules are super simple. You just have to hit the pegs and reach a certain goal. Every time you reach that goal, you get a higher multiplier, and based on the amount of that multiplier hits, the board gets reshuffled and your pegs combine and become higher numbers. Kinda like 2048 if you ever played that during class and you were really bored like I did. Every number that's on the pegs gets multiplied by 2, and then every time you hit it, it will grant you that amount of points and then halve the peg amount. If a peg is worth 1, it will be destroyed. If not, it will be halved and remain there until you destroy it or until you reach the goal and Nubby dies. Oh yeah, Nubby. Nubby's your ball. Not to be confused with the guy on the left, who is Tony, who I'm pretty sure is just a, sprite of the developer, but he teaches you how to play the game and occasionally tries killing you as the final boss. The game has different challenges you can play too, kind of like The Binding of Isaac, except they're not mandatory. You do get points for playing them, and you can use these points to buy different supervisors or change the rules of the game, also like characters in The Binding of Isaac, and it makes the game pretty replayable. I will say, I think the only reason I like this game is because it's a lot of stuff on the screen and high numbers clicking. I don't think it's nearly as replayable as a lot of different roguelikes like Balatro or, saying again, The Binding of Isaac. One thing I really like about this game is the way the items work. There's 2 different kinds of quote-unquote items in the game, or 3, but mainly 2. There's the normal items at the top of the screen, which are items that can be sold or moved around in these 7 slots, kind of like Jokers from Balatro. And then there's perks, which are permanent upgrades that you can't remove at all, that go into the row right beneath it and do not have a limited number of them. The items on the top are a bit more game-altering and will give Nubby certain conditions and then effects once those conditions are met. For example, there's items that will happen every 10 pegs popped, or items that will happen every time Nubby bounces, and it might be a chance for something to happen, or it might launch a projectile. Then the perks revolve around what slots the items are in, or what kinds of items they are. Again, there's a perk that will only happen when Nubby dies, and it will trigger all effects that only happen when the first peg is popped. A lot of the perks, though, are things like when Nubby bounces, there's a 5% chance for something to happen in a certain slot, or every few seconds, every item will re-trigger in every slot. And this is how synergy in the game happens. Instead of it being just finding what 2 items work well together, or what different character combinations you can get that make certain good things, it's about placing your items in the right spot so that cool things can happen every time a certain condition is met. If you know that you're going for a run where you're going to be trying to hit the highest peg first every single time you launch the ball, all your items and perks can revolve around that build, making sure that you get the most points if you do that condition. One of my favorite builds in the game is the ones that revolve around summoning additional things, like flying orbs or different lasers or straws that come out and pop things. There's different ways to get tons and tons of stuff on the screen that just melt everything there. Aside from the gameplay of the game, I do think the game has a pretty good sense of humor. Good by my standards, which is, slop. But, I don't know, having a kind of whack-ass sprite of the developer always watching me on the left is really funny. The items are kind of funny too. There's one guy just named Poop Butt. He's just like a realistic guy with feet. He's gross. Also, the soundtrack for the game is really good too. The music is adaptive and it's the same melody, but it changes its instruments and the feel of it depending on how far of the game you're into, which is kind of like Balatro in the way that it changes the music and adapts to whatever screen you're on. The game really nails its style down super well. The music, the visuals, the sound effects, they all really follow the same motif that might also be found in games like Baldi's Basics that are trying to emulate this early 3D computer graphics edutainment style of game. Honestly, I feel kind of ashamed to say that a weird-ass game called Nubby's Number Factory that looks this crazy and mind-melting is one of my favorite roguelikes of the year so far. Again, it's only April, but like, there's just so much charm to this game, and it's so fun to just like sit down and play through. Runs don't take super long, they're pretty fun to break and not super hard. The challenges provide a really needed challenge to the game that might not be found in the normal runs, and the new characters you can get really provide a lot of replayability. This game is doing a lot of stuff right, and I'm really excited to see how they keep updating it, since it's not been long since release and they already updated it with a lot of nice changes that have really kept me playing the game. I like making content like this for a bunch of different games I play, so if you're interested in seeing more video essay styles, long and short, subscribe and like the video. If you have any other roguelike recommendations that are also pretty weird like this, I would love to hear them in the comments, since I'm always looking for something new to play. Thanks for watching.